What's up, everyone, and welcome to The Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. We got a great show. We got WNBA playoffs. We got Major League Baseball playoffs. We got soccer. I've got an early NFL pick. I got a rebound from yesterday's loss with Kenneth Walker. Speaking of losses, speaking of wins, let's take a look at the recap screen. Oh, this is like hard to decipher here. I think this is 10 and 12 after a quick look. Brinson, kind of had a day here. A lot of picks didn't come out on top there. EC 3-0. Mackenzie Brooks 2 for 4, really close to 3 for 4 with Jameer. Again, I lost my pick, and Sniper probably should have hit Braves money line. They end up giving it up in, I believe, the 7th or the 8th inning. Crazy game one. Those things are going to happen. Good stuff from Mike McClure as usual and Larry Hartstein. But we got to move forward. We got to see some more green check marks, and we're going to do it with maybe you in the chat, but also the stars of the show. Let's bring them in on a Tuesday. We got Buckets. We got Sniper. We got Mackenzie Brooks. We've got a top button thing going. Buckets, I feel like you're feeling pretty good. You're looking pretty good. You're 15 and 2 on interception props. Your response? Ouch. This is not how you want to celebrate yourself. Oh man, Buckets. That is such a shame. This was your moment.
Look at this microphone. If I brush this, I'll just do it there. It's fine. Listen, I guess I'm 15 and 2. I don't even track this kind of stuff. I just see it. Thank you for keeping tabs on that for me. I just like flipping a quarter, and if it lands on heads, I pick the away quarterback, tails the home quarterback. It keeps working, so I'm just going to keep doing it.
Okay, I just have to harp on the fact that I was trying to give you a moment there, and you had it on mute. I mean,
it's what day is it? Where are we?
Sniper, I see the look of chagrin on your face. I mean, the guy's 15 and 2. We can't dispute the stats, but like the way he's doing it, kind of ridiculous, right?
Well, yeah, but it's like he said, if it's working, it's working. So stick with what works. You don't want to mess with success. What's the old Crash Davis? Well, I guess I can't say the specific quote because he drops an F-bomb in it, but it's basically never mess with a winning streak. So you don't want to change anything you're doing while you're winning. So no, the look for me was I'm still reeling from seeing that board and knowing how close I was to hitting both of those plays. It was 3-0 Braves going to the 8th, and the Mets score 6th, then the Braves score 4th, then the Mets score 2. It was ridiculous final 2 innings. Very entertaining at least, but yeah, that was something else.
Very entertaining indeed. Mike McClure is in the chat. He is always on a heater. Danny Brasco also on a heater. Kens, we're looking for a heater in WNBA, but any response to the games yesterday? I mean, obviously we had just a quarterback matchup that nobody wanted with Tyler Huntley and Mason Rudolph and Will Levis, or as Bucket says, Will Levi's. But then Detroit, Seattle was actually a pretty exciting back and forth. I thought that Tyler Lockett offensive pass interference call was very touchy. I think the Lions have gotten the benefit of some big-time calls, including in the playoffs against the Rams late last year when Puka Nacua probably was interfered with. But anyway, I digress. Your reaction to Monday Night Football's doubleheader?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we had that second game is really all I'll say. And I'll talk about, the Will Levis interception I gave out with all this great analysis, and to hear the Buckets just did it with a coin flip. I mean, I should have just saved myself the time and known I was tailing the master of interception props. So that was great to see. I admittedly had a little more faith in Tyler Huntley than I think I should have. But the other games certainly made up for it. DK Metcalf did some big things for me for fantasy. So overall, good day. On the site, we go 3-1 on those 4 picks, but we just miss it with that live line, which I guess sometimes is the issue with the primetime show, but still, great to get the plays out to the people right before tip off.
Funny you should bring up fantasy, because the fantasy league I joined with you, Kens, and Prop Stars and some others from the SportsLine universe. Me and my partner, and I'll just say me and my partner Dominic are in this together, and we're 4-0. And if we win any money we win, half of it is going to go to charity, the other half to Dominic. So 4-0, nice start for us. I'm just going to pat myself on the back on behalf of me and my team. Let's start finally with some picks. Buckets, we go to soccer, we go to the pitch. What are we looking at today?
We are looking at 2 plays here for the Champions League fixtures, Okay, I'm unmuted. Plus one bonus play just here for the live viewers in the early edge chat. But let's start up with the incredible matchup starting at 12:45 this afternoon between Red Bull Salzburg taking on Stade Brest. And we're taking Red Bull Salzburg over 1.5 team total at -130. We do not want to overthink this one. Salzburg had an embarrassing opening matchup here, and their manager made it very clear that is not to happen ever again. Salzburg is one of the best attacking teams in all of Austria, but also has the best defense currently in Austria. Stade Brest is frankly out of their league playing in the Champions League. They should not be in this competition, and I think we see that this afternoon when Salzburg stomped them 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. Take the team total for what is probably my favorite bet of the entire slate. However, I've got a second play for all of us as well here in the matchup between German side Bayer Leverkusen taking on AC Milan, and we're taking something that we cashed on just last week. The absolute madman himself, Florian Wirtz, has been doing, oh man, he's like the Sia Nejad of the German Bundesliga, just perfection in everything he does. The fact that we can still get him to score or assist at -110 is frankly embarrassing. The sports books should legitimately feel bad about this line, because if this was -200, Sia, I would have still given it out on the show. He has had a goal contribution every single fixture so far this season, averaging 1 per game. And this is a Leverkusen side at home that even against Milan is probably going to score 2 or 3 goals here. So take Florian Wirtz to score or assist. And for my bonus play here, Victor Gyökeres. The reason I do this every single show, he's playing today, and him to score or assist is +105. I think Sporting score 2 or 3 against PSV Eindhoven. That is, again, just an embarrassing line here, Sia.
Wow. Thank you for the compliment. You know, you're not the first person that's compared me to Florian Wirtz just in the last couple of days. So
Makes sense.
Yeah, very much appreciate that. Mr. Big says, good morning, team. So does Chris Kish. Ray Garcia saying Orioles money line and Padres money line. Sniper, we're going to get to you and your picks and maybe some chat picks. If you got some MLB picks for Sniper, we'll address them on the show. We got to get to Ken's next, but I got to tell you, new BetMGM customers, you can sign up today and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10 and you'll receive up to $1,500 instantly if your bet loses with bonus code EDGE. That's bonus code EDGE, EDGE. Ray Garcia with all the picks. Mets, no run first inning. We got to get to baseball. We got to get to WNBA playoffs. We got 2 games tonight at 7:30 and 9:30. We're going to hear about them right after this message from our partners.
It's a team almost too good to be true.
You guys ain't ready for us.
Kick your game day off right as the Tops team tackles all the biggest headlines around the league.
Who's got 2 thumbs and loves this next segment?
Sunday mornings on CBS Sports Network.
We're back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Brad Betts dropping some soccer knowledge in the chat. Rick with some baseball. Absolutely love to see it. But we got to get to WNBA first, Kens. We got a couple of games tonight, playoff games, of course, 7:30 and 9:30. Are we focused on one or both of these games?
We got both. We got to dip our feet in both here. 2 games tonight. It's playoff season in baseball. Happy Red October to those who celebrate as well. But we're going to stick to the WNBA today. I want to give a quick synopsis of what's going on for people who haven't really been following the WNBA. I want to tail through the playoffs here, but we're looking at the Aces Lynx in the first semifinals matchup. The Aces, obviously back-to-back champions, trying to go for a three-peat. They are down 0-1 to the Lynx. The Lynx have had the upper hand against this team all throughout the regular season. 4-0. The Liberty are to the Aces. So you'd want to back the Aces. You'd think in a spot like this, down 0-1, want to go back to Vegas feeling good about themselves. Always want to back the other team in the playoffs. However, they give me no reason to believe they can beat this Liberty team. So if I were to lean aside, I go Liberty. But I'm going to isolate a player here, Jonquel Jones, a player who has been very good to us all season, to go over her rebound and assist line. Now it's a Jonquel Jones, Brianna Stewart is kind of the situation we get. One of them is producing points. One of them's typically cleaning up on the boards. Based off game 1, Jonquel Jones seems to be the one taking care of the boards and Aja Wilson and being the one under the net. So I like her to go over her rebound and assist prop. She's gone over this specifically in 3 of her last 4 games. And you look at games she's played 30 plus minutes, she's comfortably going over this number. So again, playoffs, tight game. I could see her being aggressive here, and I think she can go over that prop. Then we're going to go to the Sun Lynx over on the West Coast. The Lynx laying 4.5, 5. I would lean towards the full game for the Lynx to cover, but I like to attack them in the first quarter specifically because they do typically come out in control. It's just the fourth quarter where you start to have some risk of them falling apart going up against a very veteran Sun team. But I'm trying to put this in NBA terms so people can understand. The Lynx performance, this is one of the best 3-point teams in the league. This is basically if Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps and Derek White want to combine 1 for 15 from deep last game, you're going to want to tail them in the next game to get back on track. So I think the regression to the mean here for this team is make their shots from deep, play some better defense, and they should be able to pull this out. This might be a 5-game series, but I do think the Lynx at home, before they go back on the road to the East Coast, they pull out a win and they get it done in the first quarter as well.
All right, we got Jonquel Jones over 12.5 rebounds and assists, and the Lynx first quarter -1.5 at -128. Buckets, I got a question for you. And then Sniper, before you give out your picks, I have a question for you regarding the Tigers game specifically, because I think there's a lot of people, Ray Garcia, Ray Brown, Moshi, among others, and myself, by the way, that kind of like the Tigers first 5 and maybe the first 5 under. But before we get there, Buckets, somebody asked, and I don't know why I'm asking you, there's no way you're prepared for this, but there it is. Nathan Pike, need a Buckets. Good job, Jake. He literally read my mind. Need a Buckets dinger pick. What you got? Buckets, is there anything? Did you roll the dice or something?
If you give me 5 seconds, I can get my Excel spreadsheet open here where I have 20 players' names listed, and I'll give the old special die a roll here.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
Here we go. We've got 4 and 11. So what I'm going to do, Sia, is actually not give out 1 dinger pick, but 2 dinger picks. I am parlaying Kyle Tucker with Anthony Santander. Kyle Tucker and Anthony Santander parlayed together at plus 3,800. I'm going to go ahead and throw 5 on that right now, Sia, to win 200.
Santander, but not a big deal.
I was going to say he almost got it right, though.
Yeah.
I wanted to say salamander, but I knew that was not
That's
how
why
that
I probably looked confused at first because I was like, Sal, who's
Salad?
Alto Amaki hasn't been around for a while.
Don't know what team they play for. I think they play today, but those are my 2 dinger picks there for you, Nathan.
Sniper, your reaction to those two? Like any of them hold any weight?
Yeah, I mean, Santander hit over 40 bombs, so he definitely is one. Tucker, I mean, big time home run hitter, but against Skubal, Tigers have a good bullpen. That one's tougher, but again, you could see it. It's Kyle Tucker, so both of those could well hit. Sure,
I trust the die, so I'm going to throw $5 on that parlay as well.
Santander actually might be one of the better plays today.
Okay, let me ask you this, because you mentioned the Tigers. There's a lot of people in the chat, including myself, that like the Tigers' first 5 because you're getting the plus money there, and the first 5 under as well with that pitching matchup. Any thoughts there before we get into your official picks?
Yeah, I like both of those.
Okay.
I'm gonna do more plays on SportsLine after the show. Unfortunately, I did not have time to do a bunch with this yesterday because yesterday absolutely went crazy between the 2 games and trying to do all the preview content on the writing side. And then Pete Rose dying. So I got a little busy last night into the night, and I hadn't been able to give each game a full look. But on a once over, I mean, I like all 3 of the underdogs, I think, until we get to my play, which is the late game.
Okay, well, let's get to your play in the late game. That one starts at 8:38, allegedly. Braves, Padres. We know Michael King is on the mound. Do we know who's on the mound for the Braves? Either
Not
way,
yet.
What are the picks?
Not yet. I'm going to go with the Padres right now on the run line. It was heavily plus money. The last I saw was over plus 140. I believe plus 146 is what we're playing here. The Braves are on fumes, and pitching wise, they're in dire straits because Chris Sale was supposed to start the second game, and they needed him because they lost the first game because they blew the first game. And instead he has back spasms, and it looks like he's not going to pitch in this series. So they're left with Ian Anderson, who hasn't thrown a pitch since 2022 in the majors, AJ Smith-Share, or Bryce Elder. Don't think any one of those 3 are going to be very good options. And right now, the Padres, who got a rest yesterday and are sitting at home waiting, they started the season 50-50. They were 43-19 best team in baseball in the second half. They're at full strength. I'm sure the Braves are jealous of that because they are not even close to full strength. I think the Padres are going to have an easy go in this series, and they're going to win by multiple runs tonight. Also, I'm going to stick right there, and I'm going to go Jurix and Profar over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs at about plus 100, about even money here. If it's Ian Anderson, he hit a homer off him last time he saw him. That not really that it doesn't weigh that heavily on my play more than anything else. He's their best hitter at home, 297 average with a 528 slugging. And he just is he had his breakout year, his career year, a former top prospect over a decade ago, hadn't really panned out as a star. He became an all-star this year. It's his coming out party. He's at a cushy spot in the lineup for runs and RBI, hitting in the 3-hole probably, or the 2. We'll see where Schilt puts him, but he's going to be toward the front of the order with some run producers behind him, with the table setter in front of him, Luis Ariz. I really love Profar tonight to have kind of a national coming out party in the playoffs in prime time.
All right. Very interesting. I do want to give out my pick, and then I'm going to circle back to you, Sniper, to see if there's anything else in the chat from an MLB standpoint. I am kind of curious what you think in this Royals-Orioles game, but I guess you kind of said you're leaning towards the underdog there in the Royals. All right. Speaking of underdogs, well, this team is favored, but they're an underdog to do anything this year because they're 0-4. I'm taking the Jags at home -2.5. By the way, I'm not a Jags guy. I was down on them under their win total this year, down on Trevor Lawrence, always have been. However, it's a great spot for them. -2.5 at home against the Indianapolis Colts, who have questions at the running back position. I don't think Jonathan Taylor is going to play. And if he does, with that mild to high, mid to high ankle sprain, certainly won't be effective. I anticipate him missing the game. It looks like Anthony Richardson might play, which frankly is a good thing for this bet because I think Joe Flacco is way more scary and is going to hit guys like Josh Downs and Michael Pittman with regularity against the Jags. But either way, I like the Jags here. If you watched what they did against Houston, they lost that game with 22 seconds left, and they played, including Trevor Lawrence, largely played a pretty good game. I thought the receiver core behind Thomas and Christian Kirk was actually very good. I'm going to lay the points here. By the way, the Jacksonville Jaguars are not going to mail it in at this point because they're 0-4. Their next 3 games are very winnable. Then they have a tough stretch of schedule where they have 3 games that are going to be really tough. And then their last 6 games are actually on the easier side. So I don't think anybody in that locker room is like, our season is officially over at 0-4. They could potentially go on a run and sneak into the playoffs. And again, the Colts, I think they're a mess on the back end with their secondary. I think offensively, they obviously have the issues with the injuries. It's a really good spot for the Jags to pick up their first win, perhaps convincingly. This line may tick up to 3. That's why I put it on SportsLine at -2.5 last night. And by the way, if you want to be a member of SportsLine, super easy. Go to sportsline.com/join, type in the promo code winners, and you get 60% off the annual plan. Again, type in the promo code winners after going to sportsline.com/join, and you get 60% off the annual plan. Mike McLaurin here talking about Anthony Richardson, not really a QB at this point in his career, which again, I'm kind of hoping on the road we get Anthony Richardson maybe a little hobbled as well. Sniper, did you see anything in the chat from a baseball standpoint? And then I'll go around the horn. Buckets, I'll go to you, and then Ken's, I'll go to you from a soccer and WNBA standpoint in case you picked up any questions. Sniper, you start.
Yeah, Braves under team total under 3.5. Probably. I mean, their offense is still not very good. If you look at the back half of their offense, once you get to the 6 hole, I know Laureano hit a home run yesterday. You still just can't really trust that offense too much. So yeah, I do like that. Team total over Padres. Yeah. I mean, I think the Padres are going to jump all over them tonight. No run first inning, Tigers, Astros. Absolutely. Skubal and Framber Valdez in that one. Yes. Fade Mets and Braves first game. I don't know about the Mets. I actually think they have a very good shot to go into Milwaukee and win that game. So I'm not necessarily fading the Mets because they had to play yesterday. They dialed it way back, and they didn't really play that hard in the second game. They've got Severino on the mound. The offense has all kinds of good vibes going after that late run there. So I actually kind of like the Mets in that one. And also my long shot home run pick for the day is Francisco Lindor after that big home run late yesterday. I think now that he's back in the lineup after he had the injury, I like all the vibes around Lindor and the Mets.
Yeah, absolutely love that. Maybe we'll throw that into a 3-leg home run parlay with buckets too. Kirk Schroyer, Mike Pittman overs with Flacco only. Totally agree. I've already made notes to check out Michael Pittman, and Josh Downs numbers when they come out if we know we're getting Flacco. Buckets, anything in the chat you need to address?
Nothing in the chat, but I do want to remind everyone that on the SportsLine section, or on the SportsLine site, there's a section now for Champions League where we have quick picks given by me, by Martin, by Matt Severance, by a whole bunch of different cappers specifically for the Champions League. We've got probably 10 or 12 plays up there right now for all the fixtures this afternoon. So if you're a SportsLine member, don't forget to check out that tab.
Real quick, take a subscriber through how to find those exactly.
Okay, if you go to the SportsLine site and if you see the first tabs at the top where it says soccer or where it says NFL, MLB, NHL, all that now, you'll see one that just says UCL. If you click that, it'll open all of the plays from me, from Brant, from Guru, from everybody. And you can go through and pick not only what you like, but also the projections there from the site as well.
All right, absolutely love that. Ken's, anything in the chat, WNBA or otherwise, that you needed to address?
I saw someone asking about the unders for both games. The issue with the Sun Lynx game is while I think the Lynx offense will get a lot better, I do think their defense also will get a lot better. So I thought about taking the Lynx team total over specifically, but not the full game. As far as the Liberty Aces game, I would definitely lean to that under. The Liberty were playing phenomenal offense, but they still went under this total. So it's like, how much better can you get? And I think that the Aces kind of clamped down on defense a little bit better. So I go under for the first, team total, Lynx over for the second.
All right. Danny Brasco in the chat. Numbers Edge. Of course, that's Mike McClure in the chat, dropping knowledge. Sniper, I don't think I ever circled back with you on that Orioles game. It's the weather's bad here. Like I'm in the DC area currently, and it's going to be rainy and misty, and I'm sure the game will play. But your thoughts? I mean, we're looking at the Orioles as a pretty big favorite, to be honest, a bigger favorite than I would have anticipated Reagans versus Burns.
Yeah, I mean, I lean toward the underdog there, and I think I saw McClure in the chat say the value is on the Royals as well. Vinny Pasquantino is coming back. That's a big boost for the Royals offense. The biggest thing that stuck out to me is both starting pitchers are very good and capable of throwing like aces. And Burns has in the last month. Reagans has strung together a couple good starts, but neither bullpen is reliable at all. We might see very low scoring. And honestly, it might be similar to the game one of the Braves-Mets game yesterday. We might see very low scoring for 6-7 innings, and then things just blow up in the last couple innings. So do with that what you will, but that seems like the most likely outcome to me. I also had one more thing. You said the Jags' next 3 games are winnable. Aren't the Bears in there?
Yes.
We're going to have a showdown on that one then.
Ooh, okay. You know what the funny thing is? I'm not even sure I'm going to like that. Like, let's see what the line is.
Once we get there, we'll revisit once we get there.
Because I'm down on the Jags. I've never been high on Trevor Lawrence. I've kind of like, I don't want to go down that road, but when he was coming out, I was like kind of eyebrow raising to everybody that was saying he was generational. This is more a spot play than anything. But yeah, you're right, Sniper. We'll revisit that when they visit the Bears in a few weeks. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the recap screen before we get out of here. I'm on an early play in the NFL. Jaguars -2.5. To be honest with you, if this clicks up to 3, I probably like it there too, but I would look at an alt line to see if you can get a -2.5 at -120 or better. But again, you can still find -2.5. So I'm just projecting forward. I do think this line will eventually click up to 3. Sniper, Padres -1.5 at +146. Jerks and Profar over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs at +100. And don't forget what he said on SportsLine. You're going to see some more plays for today's slate from the Sniper. Bucket, Salzburg, team total over 1.5, -130. And then Florian Wirtz, TSOA. What does that stand for? To score or assist, correct, Buckets?
Yep, to score or assist.
All right. I wasn't really asking. I was just in case the viewers didn't know. I was throwing that, obviously. Mackenzie Brooks, Jonquel Jones, over 12.5 rebounds and assists at -114. And the Lynx, first quarter, -1.5 at -128. What a great show. We got Larry Hartstein jumping in the chat as well. You absolutely love to see it. He's talking about that Tyler Lockett penalty as well. That air quotes penalty. Man, that was a tough one. I mean, listen, I know we had people on Detroit, so I'm not crying about it, but that was a tough call indeed. Today's show was awesome. That's not a tough call. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Of course, on behalf of Mackenzie Brooks, the Sniper, Buckets, 15-2 on interception props. Let me say it again. 15-2 on interception props. And Jake the Snake on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for your questions, comments, bets. Let's have a great Tuesday. I'm the Counselor of Cash. This is the Early Edge. We rest our case.